response to the Australian Human Rights Commission survey on sexual assault at universities, ANUSA and PARSA have worked to create recommendations for the ANU. The recommendations are informed by the work of the ANUSA Women's Department, Restorative ANU, End Rape on Campus, the Council of Australian Postgraduate Associations, and the National Union of Students. The ANUSA and PARSA recommendations are designed to be executed within a period of 6 months to 5 years. 1. Provide specialised support staff in anticipation of the survey results. The release of the results will be particularly triggering for survivors. It is recommended that specialised trauma counsellors, support staff and resources be made available to the ANU. It is suggested that the ANU provide with Canberra Rape Crisis Centre and ANU counselling with adequate funding to deal with the demand for support. 2. Provide safe and accessible information for survivors and their supporters. The ANU should work with ANUSA and PARSA to ensure survivors and their supporters can seek help and resources from the ANU. It is recommended that resources are online and in other formats such as in-course syllabus and orientation guides. 3. Creation of an ANU sexual assault and sexual harassment task force. The task force will act as a steering group to contribute to the development and implementation of preventative assault measures at the ANU. The task force will also provide support to survivors on campus. It is recommended that membership of the task force be finalised within 2 months and be in force on the 1st of October 2017. 4. Engage in a process of restorative justice. The ANU should seek to amend its past mishandling of incidents and acknowledge its silencing of survivors and failure to hold perpetrators accountable. It is recommended that a restorative process between survivors and ANU management be implemented. The restorative process should elicit a genuine, meaningful and public apology from the Vice-Chancellor to survivors in the ANU community who have been harmed by the official responses to their victimisation. 5. Review of policy to create a centralised sexual assault and sexual harassment policy for ANU. The ANU has engaged an external provider to commence a review of policies, processes and protocols. It is recommended that the review include meaningful and safe opportunities for survivors and student representatives to give feedback. The review should include definition, reporting processes, information on support organisations, rights and responsibilities of staff and students, and ways of accounting for incidents of online and micro-incidents of assault. 6. Resourcing. Engaging specialised staff to support students. The ANU must commit to fully funding the on-campus counsellor from Canberra Rape Crisis Centre after 3 years. In the interim, ANU must ensure support staff and reporting and investigative staff are adequately trained to respond to disclosures, reports, and to support. It is recommended that an independent office of specialised support staff with extensive knowledge of the spectrum of sexual assault be established, developing response to marginalised groups. 7. Affirm survivor agency and confidentiality and hold perpetrators accountable. The independent office should carry out investigations into reports of sexual assault and harassment to assure appropriate intervention. Confidential and anonymous reporting systems should be available in person and online, with the development of an accessible trauma-informed online form. The reporting process should apply to all aspects of the university, and the investigation process should keep survivors informed to be respectful. It is recommended that the office respond to reports with appropriate sanctions, including engaging survivors and perpetrators in a restorative justice process. 8. Community standards. A community standards policy should articulate the shared values and expected behaviour of staff and students. It is recommended that the policy be created in consultation with students and staff and be mandatory for entrance into the university. It is recommended that the policy be publicly announced and attached to all staff and accommodation contracts and student enrolments. 9. Pre-arrival information and training for all students on consent. The ANU should make it compulsory for all students to complete consent training, attaching the training to student ISIS enrolment by 2019. Mandatory consent training should be reviewed to incorporate the findings of the survey. 10. Training for staff and students receiving disclosures. Students are currently overburdened with supporting survivors. People in this position should have access to training and respond effectively to the needs of students. Receiving disclosures can be traumatizing. It is recommended that the ANU fund a responding to a disclosure of sexual response training. 11. Stronger system to support students in residential environments. There is potential for toxic cultures to develop in residences, considering the power imbalances between staff, student leaders, and student residents. It is recommended that policies are developed to ensure students in residences are safe from power abuses and can report them if they occur. 12. Higher degree by research, HDR and honours student supervisor support. There is a power imbalance between HDR students and their supervisors, where students are reliant on their supervisors for academic and professional support and success. If supervisors are engaging in sexual violence, HDR and honours students have few avenues available. It is recommended that HDR students be empowered to report regularly and confidentially on supervisor behaviour. 13. Students are valued as equal members of the ANU community. An ANU student partnership agreement with ANUSA and PARSA must allow student representatives to inform problem identification and the development of responses. This agreement should be endorsed by the ANU Council and engage student feedback and input. 14. A commitment to ongoing reporting and periodic reviews. There should be ongoing reporting of sexual assault and harassment incidents and periodic reviews of policies, protocols, and procedures. This will enable effective evaluations of the ANU's work in addressing the issue. 15. Commitment to a future survey. It is strongly recommended that a follow-up survey take place to record the experiences of students over time. Ideally, an ANU survey would take place and be publicly released and reviewed by the task force to inform future coordinated action.